All right, so ever wondered how to write your book while working a 9 to 5? In just 1 month, I went from blank page to an entire manuscript, and now we are starting over. And so in this video, I'm gonna break down my step-by-step process as I journey from tearing up my entire manuscript and redoing it. I've got resources and I'm sharing each and every step along the way. And I'm going to show you all of my resources and how I'm fitting it into my lifestyle as I work 9 to 5 in corporate. So each week I will be here on what I'm calling Writing Wednesday, and I'm showing you my process step by step as I go from outline to final manuscript, with the ultimate goal of finally getting my first piece of writing published. So if you have ever dreamed of writing a novel and you just didn't think you had the time, this is the place for you. Welcome to Writing Wednesday. So with that said, let's get into this week's video. All right, so welcome. My name is Hannah and this is a place where we talk about all things creative. And I am on the journey, like I said earlier, to getting my first piece of writing published. And as a little bit of a backup, I wrote my first manuscript in 1 month, start to finish. Of course it was a trash draft, but since then I started working with an editor. I've rewritten it twice, and I am in the process of ripping it completely up, starting over. I've decided to restructure it after working with an editor for a little bit, and so this is the video series where I am sharing that entire process along the way. So what are we doing today? So today is, we are continuing the outlining process. So if you haven't, this is the third video in the series and we're still in the outlining section. So you can go back and see those videos there if you'd like. But today we are continuing in the outline. So with that, I'm actually just going to jump right into Miro, show you kind of where I'm going to be focusing in on. If you don't have the resource, you can kind of go down below and get that while we're talking. So yeah, let's jump into Miro and see what we're going to be working on today before we get into time blocking and potentially working this through together. All right, so we are in Miro. What I'm showing you is the template. So like I said, it's down below. You can get this for yourself. I've made this a free resource, so you're welcome. All right, so this is how I am actually, let's record this. All right, so this is how I am actually plotting out and outlining my novel. And as a fun fact, when I did work with my editor, she had not seen a process like this and she loved it. So just saying, this could be helpful. It's helpful for me, so it could be seen as a positive. All right, so what I worked on last time is I worked in this second half of Act 1. So the last couple episodes we talked through what does it look like to kind of, pace it correctly for the book that you're working on. And then kind of being able to plot out all of those different aspects to make sure that when you actually get into the writing process that exactly kind of where you're at, what the meaning behind some of the stuff is. It kind of helps you with a little bit of the dialogue, that type of stuff. So I worked through these two sections, and then last week I worked on this kind of section, and I am super happy with kind of where I ended. Like I had said, one of the takeaways that I gave in the last video was telling someone about your pacing a little bit if it's something you're comfortable with, and kind of sharing that, because it was a really big booster for me, at least, like not motivation, but it was a really big confidence boost, because I was questioning, does this feel like the right pacing for this? And I know you won't really know until you get into the book and the actual page by page kind of flow of it. But in the sense, when you're bullet pointing it out, is this enough of a motivation to get someone to kind of really invested into these characters, into this world, into this story? And so that's kind of where I got to last time. And so what I think I'm actually going to be doing, I went in and I added images to my, so I did that after last Wednesday. So I went in and I added images because I want to, when I get through this whole, bullet pointing out everything, I want to be able to like easily go into writing and have visual cues and things that I've already done a lot of the work ahead of time. So that's kind of where I'm at, is making sure that like I am double checking, super happy with like, as you can see down here, like, you know, I know exactly of the pacing of like when characters are being introduced. So then that way I'm not like leaving them out as well. And I'm like not introducing one and then, you know, leaving them in the story and then never bringing them up again. So, it's helpful. This is so incredibly helpful for me. So, what I've done, like I said, from the past, was I worked on adding in these images, and then I was playing a little bit around with some of the bullet points, but I'm super happy with where I'm at with it. So what I think I might actually be doing now is start really doing a rough. I think I'm going to give myself 2 sections at a time. So I'm going to work into these 2 sections here. And I'm just going to really roughly bullet point out. I'm going to throw the characters that I think should be introduced when in those sections, and then kind of give myself kind of a rough kind of like quick spot of it. So, all right. So now that we've kind of gone through what I'm going to be working on today, if this is something that you're interested in as well, feel free and do it with me. What I have been doing is I give myself about 25 minutes, and I do like a Pomodoro timer. So I'm going to put that on screen. I'm going to get to writing. Feel free to, you know, do it with me, pause the video. It's going to be a very condensed, shortened version of it, but then I'm going to come back on afterwards and talk through a little bit of some of the things that kind of came up for me, some of the blockers that I'm kind of struggling with, and maybe share some of that along the way. So like I said, I'm gonna pull up the timer. I'm gonna get ready, settled in, and do a short little writing sprint. So I will see you in 1 second. Right, so I just got done doing the writing sprint, and I worked through those first 2 sections of Act 2. And this is a super crucial point in the book, just in like the pacing. And so I want to be very strategic about where that actually fits. And so like the thing that I struggled with, and I have been struggling with this, is like my story is based on my true story, based. So there is a lot of things that I have, you know, altered in a way, and a lot of characters that are mishmashes of people that aren't, or, you know, are based on someone very vaguely, but like are completely made up. but the essence of my true story, for at least me, is there. And so the thing I'm struggling with is, because this is not a completely made up story, I struggle with the comparing it to reality. And so I think that's where I struggled with like the first version of it, is that I was doing it very chronologically. And that doesn't make a good story. So, you know, this is fun, but it also is hard for me to completely like cut out a person or a significance that I have reference to an individual. And not that I'm writing it about the individual, but like the significance I have to that, to the storyline that I'm telling about myself. And so I've had to, with recommendation from my editor at the time, there was a key character that was suggested that I cut, and it wasn't that like, oh, this character wasn't great or whatever. It was just, I think the point was, there's a lot of characters and to me it was hard to like, you know, get rid of, it was hard for me to like not have this same set of, you know, cast of characters in my head that, you know, all had these very deep impacts on my life. But this is the point where I have to decide, do they stay or go? And I think I've already it's not I think. I know that they're going. I have to let them go. But I think I came up with an idea, which I'll share once I get to the end of this, but I think I came up with an idea about how to bring them back in and give them a significance and a place in a completely different way, and a storyline, and something that I think would make me really happy to do. And at the complete end of this, I'll tell you potentially why. So yeah, that's kind of where I was at today. I don't know if others have similar scenarios where, like, if you're writing something based off of a true story or trying to write a true story, it's hard because you have these, I struggle with that sense of like, am I doing myself a disservice by leaving this out because it happened in this way, but I have to do it in the service of, is this a good story? And so that's the lens I'm kind of looking through. So yeah, I'm super happy with it. I'm, like I said, I did just very rough bullet points with it. And I'm just going to try and like, work this. I'm going to try and work this out a little bit more, in the next couple days, because I'm feeling really motivated to kind of work on it. So, so yeah, that's really about it. I think, that means we are at the end of another Successful Writing Wednesday. So with that, I hope that you are, if you are also on this journey, I hope that you are also trying to find little nuggets of time to carve out, because I know it's difficult to try and be creative and follow our dreams. So I hope if you are working towards one of your goals, if it is writing, if it's something else, that you are giving yourself that, because that's the most caring thing you can do for yourself and your soul. So with that, I am going to probably continue writing a bit more. With that, I'm probably going to continue writing a bit more, and I will see you on the next Writing Wednesday. See you soon.